Okay. All right, it's giving me some signals. I think we're good. Hi. How
Hi,
are you?
Angela.
How are you? How's it going, Maria? Tell us who you are and tell us the name of your business.
So I'm Maria Kardamaki Robertson. I am the founder and CEO of Demeter's Pantry. Demeter's Pantry is a natural prepared foods and healthy meal company. We do Mediterranean and Latin American Hispanic flavors, and our goal is to bring to market products that feel and taste like home cooking, good home cooking. And I look forward to speaking with you. That's amazing that you have created this platform that gives a voice to, small businesses and women-owned businesses
Thank,
like mine.
thank you. Well, thanks for joining. I love doing this because I do think everybody has a story, and the path to how you got to open your business. It's different than someone else's, and I feel like those things we have to share because sometimes people see the social media or they see the outside and they don't know what's going on the inside there. So,
Yeah.
thank you. And you are in the DC area, correct?
Yeah, I'm in Maryland in the Washington D.C. metro area.
Excellent. And for those who are listening later, we just got socked with a big snowstorm this last couple of days, so we're all a little bit out of it. But thank you again. And uh, so, have you always been in the food business your whole
No,
life? No.
but I
How long have you
kind
had
of
this business?
started in the food business because my parents, I grew up in Greece, in the island of Crete, and my parents owned a hotel. So, as you know, with Greek families, I've worked in the hotel since I remember myself, since I was
Yeah.
very young. And a lot of the times, because that's the easy job for kids to do, is to work in the kitchen or, serving at the restaurant. So that's how I started in food. And then when I graduated from high school, I went off to do a degree in hotel and restaurant management.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had culinary training. So that's what I learned. Some of my cooking skills are from there, but
Right.
really where I learned how to cook is with my grandmothers. So I was
Yeah.
the oldest girl in the
Right.
house. So I was kind of expected to help my grandmother who cooked for us. And when I wasn't in school, in the summers, when I was on vacation, I was pretty much cooking with her, which
Yeah.
entailed, sometimes just send me off to the garden to cut some basil and,
Mm-hmm.
fresh herbs, or help me do this and do that. I kind of
Yeah.
sat next to her and I helped as needed. And
Yeah.
so that's my interest in food started there.
Yeah. Well,
And
I feel
when you
like,
go,
yeah. Yeah, we celebrate with food, we grieve with
yeah,
food, we food
yeah,
is the center of our
food
lives,
food
yes.
is everything in the Greek family.
Yeah.
And but then when I came to the U.S., I went back to school, and I got a degree in anthropology.
Oh,
I was very interested in it. I got all the way to a PhD program. I was hoping to work in academia and teach.
wow.
But then it became clear that I loved anthropology, but there were no jobs. So I went back to what I knew, which is food again. And I started an import company that worked with women's cooperatives in Greece. And these were women that basically used what was left over from their crops that they couldn't sell to make things like spoon sweets and jams and stuff like that. So I helped them create products for the US market and bring it to market. And that's how I started Demeter's Pantry, and that's why it's named Demeter's Pantry. But in 2008, Whole Foods Market, which was our largest customer then, um, was looking for ethnic cuisines to start their hot bars. And they asked me if I could bring products from Greece to do that. And I realized it was difficult to import fresh food from Greece.
Yeah.
So I started making, in the beginning, just traditional Greek cuisine, kind of the things that I learned with my grandmothers. I
Wow.
started making it here, and that's how I got back into like prepare foods and making food,
Right.
starting in 2008.
And so when you think back to being in Crete as a kid, a lot of kids would say, I don't want to do this ever. Like it's been too much. Do you look back and think that when you were younger, were you thinking you're going to not get into food and beverage and hotels? Or were you like, all right, this is okay? Like, where was your mind? Did you feel like, yeah, of course I'm going to do this because this is what we all have done?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
more like that. You
Yeah.
kind of get programmed to, you know, um, well, when I was 18 years old, my father died, and
Oh,
he
I'm so
was
sorry.
a very important person in my life,
Yeah.
like a very strong personality. He was entrepreneur himself. He had started multiple businesses, and he had kind of decided that I will be the one that will go on to take over the hotel.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Sure.
It wasn't any,
Yeah.
nobody asked me really to tell you.
They rarely do ask.
Yeah,
It's just unspoken that this is the path.
yeah,
But I mean, it is interesting. And I always ask that, when I ask people about their very first job, it often comes back, even when they deviate, they go to get a degree in anthropology, there's always a connection somehow to what you were doing younger, it feels. Even
yeah,
for people who are like, I'm never doing that, all of a sudden, I mean, I have a picture on my website of my grandparents' store in DC, and then flash forward, I'm, working at a grocery store. It's like, I didn't think that's what I was going to do, but it
yeah.
somehow, it's in there. Um,
Kind of
and,
ingrained inside you.
yeah, and so when Whole Foods asked about the hot bar food, and you knew you couldn't import it, what was the first thing you did? Were you excited? Were you scared? Were you like, well, I know how to cook, and I'm just going to figure it out? Like, how did you? That's a big call to get.
Yeah, it is. But it's also a big opportunity, right? Like
Yeah,
how often, the Whole Foods back then and the Whole Foods here, it's not the
it's
same
a different.
company,
Yeah,
but how often do you get Whole Foods to come and ask you, can you
yeah,
do this? You're not
yeah.
going to say no. You're
Right,
just going to roll up your sleeves and figure out a way to make it work, right?
right, right,
And the things that we're asking, I was like, I know how to make this. And
right.
I know how to make them well. It was just a matter of figuring out the logistics of how to make it. And they were willing. There's not a lot of the times you start a new business and you don't have a customer lineup.
Right.
We had a customer lineup. We were
Yeah.
already a vendor of Whole Foods with some of the imported items.
Yeah.
And so they gave us 10 stores in the first month. They changed it to 17 stores. And, then they gave us the whole Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah.
So it's
And
important, I think, when you start a business to not be unrealistic. Obviously, if they asked me, "Can you do sushi?" I wouldn't have said yes.
right, right.
But you need to be, within reason.
Right.
But it's important to be ready for opportunities. And if you're not ready, if it feels like you can wing it, just
Right.
go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it takes a balance of, calculated risks and knowing what your strengths are, because you were like, I know this food, I know what it is. Okay, I got to figure out how to cook it and get it to these stores.
Yeah,
And I think at that time you had Julia, who we both know, and you had people who were like, okay, this is how you do this, or
yeah.
if you had questions, you could kind of ask. Was there anybody else? Were there people around you that you could be like, okay, I'm doing this thing, and like, did you have like a business community or food friends that you could talk to about it, or were you all alone?
Well, that my husband is not Greek, but he loves going to Greece. He's British,
Of course.
but he has been extremely supportive. He could have
Yeah.
said, "Oh, this is totally crazy. It's going to
Right.
bankrupt us,"
Yeah.
but he didn't.
Yeah.
So that it was nice to know that I had his support and at times financial support because he was the one with the real job,
Right.
the full-time job. So that really helped. And the other thing is there is a lot of resources. You just have to reach out to it. So
Yeah.
like, for example, there was a point, not right when I was starting the prepared foods, but as we were growing, that I needed a line of credit. I went to my bank and they were like, no, your company is not making enough. So I went to a couple banks, and then I went to the Women Business Center in Rockville, and they introduced me to one of their counselors who was actually worked for a bank. And she said, my bank is it's not going to work in my bank, but I'm going to introduce you to a small bank, Sandy Springs, and they can help you. And
Yeah.
it's important to look around because we're fortunate to live in a part of the country that there's a lot of free resources. And so that just look around for resources,
Yeah.
whether it's SCORE or the women
Yeah.
business centers, other kinds of women organizations that can help.
Yeah, that's such good advice too, because I do think that there's a lot of entrepreneurs and especially women who think they have to kind of fight through alone or forge through. This is my thing and I have to do it. But there's a lot of really good resources, or even just finding people that you can say, this is the thing I'm up against. Have you experienced it before? Or do you know anybody? And it's like each of those connections, like the woman from the Women's Business Center connected you to somebody who connected you to someone else. And I think those are the
Yeah.
ways that we really get it done. Because going it alone is so, to me, it's just pushing a boulder up a hill. It's like there's other people that can even just give you these little tips or tricks that
Yeah.
might be useful. So
I
was
mean-
there, when you first launched it, when you were like, okay, well, yeah, we're in, was there anything that was like, what was the one thing you learned as you were doing it that it just kind of stuck with you? Anything?
Well, there's a lot of things I learned. Like if I was going to do it again, I would have done it very, very differently.
Yeah.
So one of the advice I usually tell people try to start a new business is in the beginning. Well, first of all, you have to love what you're doing, because if you don't and you're just doing it because, oh, I just need the money, or I hate my job, I'm just going to start a company, hopefully I make more money there. No, it's not going to happen.
Never happens. Yeah.
It's not going to happen like that. So after that is the thing that I didn't do that I would have advised other people to do is to plan and to get an accountant and a lawyer and get a good foundation going.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times, a lot of us start businesses and we are like in a shoestring budget, right? And you're like, oh, geez, I really don't want to spend the money to get a legal advice.
Yeah.
But it comes back and bites you because now you set up the business and you're trying to grow, and then you're having all these issues because you have not set up a proper structure. You're very busy cooking food or whatever the thing is that you're doing, and you don't know what the legal issues are. And accounting is really important. I'm always amazed how I see small businesses and they have no bookkeeping. They just, they don't know how much money they're making at the end of the month. They don't know. I think this is so important. It's so important. Even if you're small and you are just yourself and you're like, I really don't need any accounting. No, you do need accounting, because it puts it puts a certain amount of discipline.
Yes.
And then it's important to know at the end of the month to look at the reports. That's what I do now. Every month I look at the reports and see, okay, how are we doing? You know, where can we do better? All that, which I wasn't able to do right in the beginning.
Yeah, that is the best advice. It's advice I give too, because I always tell this story. When I started, I was consulting, and I thought, well, I'm just going to have a spreadsheet and I'll figure it out. It's not like I'm making food or I have a product, but I still had to do the same thing. And I met a bookkeeper who was like, "Who's reconciling your books at the end of every month?" I'm like, "Me, I guess." And she was just like, she said, "You don't have to hire me, but you at least have to get QuickBooks or some kind of software to help you." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And she was right. And once I outsourced the bookkeeping and a few other things, it frees you up to run the business, do the thing that you want to do. Like you said, if you want to be cooking or if you want to be running the kitchen, I had one client, he didn't want to actually make his product. He wanted to be the salesman. He was really good at sales, and that's what he wanted to do. So, yeah, finding those things that you're like, you know, none of us talking to each other on this call are attorneys, right? So it's not inherent in us. We can read a contract and maybe see some things, but they're going to look at it from a different perspective, and they're going to understand the risk to you if you move forward or if you don't move forward. And I think those things are, it's money, but it's money that's very well spent if you think about it.
Yeah.
So that's funny though. We both had the same thing. We're like, bookkeeper. I guess I'll get one of those at some point, or accountant or whatever. So yeah. And I think actually, I hate to always go to the, these are my headphones or your headphones?
I can hear you very well.
Okay, you can? Yeah? Okay. Is that, you know, we all have our strengths too, right? So if we know that this is not a strength, and I know a lot of women business owners, it's looking at the finances in the face, like really digging in is something that they shy away from because they're just afraid of, it's just a lot of fear a lot of us have. And I think once you do it and you realize, like you said, you're looking at the reports at the end of the month and you can see what's going on and you understand them. And so when something happens to the positive or to the negative, then you can have a educated response to that. You'll know this isn't unusual. It's whatever, the weather, it's snowy, it's summer, it's seasonal. Oh, the price of eggs went up. That's impacting what we're doing. So those types of things you wouldn't know unless you're really studying it.
Yeah, you're proactive. And also, let's say you want to go to get a loan or something. Now you have everything pretty much ready. Otherwise, you need to go back and reconstruct the history out of nowhere. It's really difficult.
Yeah.
It's not just the everyday, but it gives a legitimacy to the business if you're showing it to someone else, whether it's an investor or, you know, a bank or whatever it's needed. So
aside from building that foundation with accounting and attorney, what else would you tell the Maria of 2008?
I would also say take care of yourself.
Oh, that's a really good one.
A lot of us, you start the business and you just give everything to it, right? You work long hours, you like juggle everything, and you know, not everybody who starts a new business is young, but a lot of the times you're also like a young mother, and you just don't take, like, you are the core of the business. If you don't take care of yourself, I mean, if you burn yourself out, then there's not going to be any business because you are the business, right?
Yeah.
So it's important to, you know, what I learned through the years is like, of course, if there's an emergency, you got to step in. If there's an important client, you got to do something, but you got to also carve out time, whether it's the time that you spend for yourself or time that you spend with your family. For example, I don't work the weekends. Like, I do my best not to work the weekends. Sometimes I do have to work the weekends.
Right.
Or whether it's like stopping at a particular time, or, you know, you have to do that because you got to keep yourself healthy and you got to
Yeah.
keep yourself sane to be able to grow the business. So
Yeah.
that would be another advice that I would give to anyone,
That's really
especially if
good.
you're juggling a lot
Yeah.
of things, which I had two young kids and we don't
Right.
have family. I'm from Greece. My husband is British. We don't have family here lives with
Right.
us. So it was a lot. It was a lot
Yeah.
to juggle.
And it felt to me when I was younger, it felt easier to be, you know, at 9 o'clock at night staring at my computer or doing something. But now it's like I can't eat. I just, not only do I not have interest to do that, but I just know that my brain isn't functioning at that spot. I know that I'm really good during the daytime. And once you
Yeah.
get me to like 8 o'clock at night, I'm like, ooh. And I've
Yeah.
have a few clients that like to meet later in the day, and I'm just like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to rest for an hour beforehand. But I do think you have to take care. It's physical, it's mental, it's
Yeah.
all of those things are kind of tied together. And if you're the one that it's your name on the door and you're the one that's in charge,
Yeah.
sometimes we feel like we can't do it. But that's such good advice. Do you find it easier now than when you were younger, or is it like
Well,
do you
well, I
you know
find it's easier now for a number of reasons. One, because the company is not new, so it has kind of a road that it goes to.
yeah,
So even if I don't work one day, it doesn't fall apart.
right,
But when a company is very new, you are
yeah,
the company. Like if you
yeah,
don't work, nothing happens, right?
so true.
Uh, and and that's one thing. The second thing is that our kids are grown up and have left
Yeah.
the house, so that's easier too.
Excellent.
Um, but yeah,
Do you,
it's definitely
yeah,
easy. But it's important. A lot of women who start new businesses, they are home-based businesses.
right,
Your office is where your home is.
yeah,
So it's important to carve space and carve time, I think,
yeah,
because otherwise you're constantly working, like you're never unplugging.
right. And I think we saw that a lot during the pandemic when people were working from home, living at home, and for some people it was a huge plus, right? The not commuting, all these things, but for a lot of people it was everything all at once, right? Their living room or dining room became their office, and now it's not a place to sit and have dinner, or the same place where I watch TV is now where I work, and there's no separation. And I think that's really hard
Yeah.
sometimes.
And
I've
we
worked
have
from home. Yeah.
laptops, it's not the way it was in the past. You left your
Right.
computer at work. Now
Yeah.
we drag our work everywhere we go.
Everywhere we
So
go.
it makes it more important to put some
Yeah.
limits.
Totally. Totally. There are times I have to tell myself, like going somewhere for the weekend, I'm like, why am I bringing my computer? I'd have to convince myself you don't need it. Whatever you need is on your phone. You're not getting documents or anything. Like you could take a weekend without the computer. But I also think
Having, having said that, I
yeah,
always drag my computer, so it's more like do I as I say, not as I
as I
do.
do. Well, that is also one of our peak being Greek things. Do as I
Yeah,
say, not as I do. But it's hard. I mean, some habits are hard to break too. And
yeah,
sometimes it feels like a security to have a laptop with me. It's like
yeah,
if something does go down, I can, log in and do all sorts of things. But most of the time, I'm not. I don't need it. It just
yeah.
feels
That's
good to
true.
have it with me. Is there anything? I want to go back to anthropology. Like, How did you decide to study that? And is there anything that kind of helps you in your work now? Like, is there anything that?
Yeah, I think a lot of how I got to that,
Yeah,
well, I went,
it's
I
such a unique
honestly,
interest.
when I came to the US, which I came because I had a boyfriend who I then married,
Okay.
um, uh, I went back to, I worked during the day, and in the
Yeah,
evening I went to a community college,
yeah,
and I wanted to actually do a master's degree on what my degree in Greece was, but they
right.
didn't recognize. I had a hard
Uh,
time getting them to recognize my degree, and it was really
yeah,
complicated. And so I just started taking random classes. and one of it was in anthropology, and I'm like, oh, I love this subject.
Yeah.
I was very interested, so that's how I got into it.
Yeah.
But it does really help at work because, for one thing, what do? We started with Greek cuisine, but then we do more like broadly Mediterranean. And some years ago, one of our clients asked us if we can do Latin American foods because they lost the chef that they had, the supplier that they had.
Yeah.
So we start doing that, and you begin realizing that even these two different parts of the world, they have actually a lot of it in common. And food is kind of this common language that we all speak.
Yeah.
And at the end, yes, there are variations between cuisines, but there's also tons of similarities. And there's a lot of ingredients, for example, let's say potatoes or tomatoes that come from Latin America that are used heavily in the Mediterranean region. You almost
Right.
cannot think of Italian food without tomatoes, right?
Right.
But tomatoes did not exist in the Mediterranean in the
Right.
past. So what anthropology has given me is a foundation to understand how the world works. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like a language that allows you to talk about the different cultures and different food traditions in a way that it makes more sense.
Yeah.
And that's where, and sometimes, even when I do sales, I don't think of it as sales. I think of it more as what are the issues that these people have,
Yeah.
our customer has, and how can we help them? If we can't help them, I'll tell them, we can't help
Right.
you. I see
Right.
what your problem is, but we can't help you. But it just helps you seeing this commonality that exists among us, regardless of the differences we have. If you really dig in, the needs are pretty basic.
Yeah.
Right? And food has the ability it's one of these universal things. We all need to eat, and we all need to eat something that tastes good.
Yeah.
And we want to eat something healthy that's good for our body. So
Yeah.
that's a commonality that you find everywhere.
That's awesome. It probably helps you with your communication too, and just an ability to kind of see things from someone else's perspective. That's a huge strength in owning a business, I think.
Thanks.
You know, yeah. What was the first when you got that call from Whole Foods? You're like, okay, I'm getting into prepared foods. What were like the first few dishes in your mind that you were like, we got to have this, we got to have that, we got to have this? Like, was there something in your mind that you knew immediately?
Well, they gave us, they gave us a concept of what they want.
Got it.
And, of course, everybody knows moussaka.
Yeah.
And so they asked for moussaka.
And you were like, okay, everybody has it. All
Yeah,
right.
everybody wants that. When it comes to Greece, wants moussaka.
Right.
But then I was like, how about if I also, they wanted things that were authentic. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to make for you what we were making in our homes in Greece.
Yeah.
But then there were certain lessons that we learned. Like, for example, you're from a Greek family. We use a lot of olive oil.
Yes, we do.
So one of the dishes that we did for them, we don't do it anymore. It's a dish that's made in the western part of the island of Crete, and it's called boureki, and it's one of my favorite dishes. And boureki has a lot of oil because you cook the zucchini in the oil and they almost fries them. So we did it for the hot bars, and people were complaining that it has too much oil and it's greasy. And then I go to the stores, and a lot of the people who work in the stores are from South America, Latin America. And they were like, Maria, we can see this is good quality oil. Look how nice and green it is.
Right.
And we have to throw it away because they complain. And
Yep.
I'm like, I even cut it in half of what my grandmother was putting.
Right. That's
So
so funny.
it was, it was a lot of learning. Okay,
Yeah.
we want to be, authentic, but we don't want to be completely hardcore. Like,
Right.
we want
It
to
has to.
adapt
Yeah.
it to the needs of the people here, right? To the
Right.
customer here.
Yeah, it
That's,
has to be accessible because now we're talking about a grocery store. It's not a restaurant. So it's not like people came into a Greek restaurant and said,
yeah,
okay, it's sort of what I expect. It's,
yeah,
they're picking and choosing what they want. And, but that's really, it's so interesting because there are things too that we want them to be so authentic, but it may not work making it for a large volume, right? It
yeah,
maybe works better for a small volume. So,
yeah.
yeah,
Or
it is
in a
funny. Yeah.
unique situation. And I think that's another kind of lesson here for
Hmm.
people starting their business. You want to be, you have a vision and you want to be persistent and you
Hmm.
want to push to get your vision out there, but you also want to be flexible. You want to be
Yeah.
willing to change.
Yep.
Because that would allow your business to grow.
Yep.
And, I'm not saying that every time a customer comes and says, oh, we want you to do this, or you immediately change everything, you drop it and you do what that customer wants.
Right.
But at the same time, you got to listen to
Yeah.
your customer and their customers if you are, a B2B company,
Right.
and see where they are and where can you meet them. Like one of the things that it's interesting that we did in the beginning, we named all the dishes the traditional Greek, you know,
Right.
you know, whatever the things like bureki, right?
Yeah.
And people are like, I don't
I know
know
what
what
that
that
is.
is. So some of them we renamed them to something that's more accessible,
Yeah.
and they picked up in sales. People started buying it more when they
Yeah.
could pronounce the name.
Right. Yeah.
That
I mean,
it wasn't too
that's
foreign to them.
right. Again, it's like understanding that audience, right? This is again,
Yeah.
it's a grocery store. Maybe, perhaps at that time, people were a little bit more foodie, if you want to call them that. So maybe they knew, but seeing something printed out and you're just like, I have no idea what that is. A likelihood, you got to be very adventurous. Just to be like, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
So
Some
yeah,
people would do it, but
yeah.
other people were like, I got it. Or if you're buying it for your kid, you're like, I have no idea what this thing is.
Right, right. And ultimately, you want it to be easy for the customer, whichever way,
Yeah.
whether that's the retailer or the end user, the consumer at the store. You want it to be easy for them. You want your product to be the one they pick.
Yeah.
And if that means explaining it a little bit, then I think we can do that. So
Yeah.
very cool.
Also, I felt like you can't throw too many new things to people. Okay, new flavors, new ingredients, and a completely new name, right? You gotta
Right.
pick your battles there.
Yeah.
You gotta figure out, you know, where one new thing at a time, and if they warm up to the idea, then
Right.
you can just start introducing more new things.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things that we did in the beginning. We were like, oh, we're gonna be really authentic. If we can get my grandmother here to cook, even
Right.
better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we named everything the way it was, and it just didn't work. It didn't.
Yeah.
It
We also have
didn't
to remember, like, I think this is big in lots of different cultures, but we always joke that, like, with my friends who have food businesses, like, the Greeks aren't your customer necessarily. They're the ones that are your critic. They're the ones that are
oh
like,
yeah,
well, it's not Maya makes it this way, and so it's like you have to take that for what it is. Like, yes, I
yeah,
understand, but also I'm trying to sell to a really broad audience. I really
yeah,
want more people to enjoy this food. So it
yeah,
is kind of funny because it's like, well, we would call it this. It's like, well, yeah, that's what you'd call it, but in English we say this, and
yeah.
it's easier to communicate. So that's really is
Yeah,
there
and you have when you
yeah.
when you are a B2B business, you speak to the buyers and
Mm-hmm.
they speak to the customers, and sometimes they don't speak to the customers.
Right.
It's their staff that speaks to the customers. There's a lot of layers there between you and the end consumer. and
Yep.
try to like decipher that and get to the end consumer. It can be, quite challenging if you're trying to launch something that's very new to them.
Is there is there a Greek dish or Greek flavor that you love so much? Is there something that you like when you think of home that you're just like, yeah, this brings me back?
There's a lot of good flavors. I would say that the the bureki I was talking about before, it's one of
Sure.
it. But there's some other items that we still do. We do
Mm-hmm.
a chicken braised in red wine.
Mm-hmm.
It's called stifado in Greek.
Mm-hmm.
So we still
Yep.
call it chicken stifado. But
At least
this,
with the chicken in front of it, they know that at least there's chicken in
yeah, that
there.
is
Yeah.
chicken, yeah. And then
Yeah.
we explain chicken stifado and it's braised in red wine with green and red peppers. That item is one of our first things when we launched with Whole Foods in
Wow.
2008, and we still make that item for the hot bars.
Wow.
On and off at times, we also had it as a our own brand retail meal, and
Yeah.
we still do it for one of our customers called Territory Foods.
Mm-hmm.
We make it for them. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's red wine and cinnamon, which sounds weird,
So
but
Greek.
there's a sweetness, a
Yeah.
sweetness to the dish, and
Yeah.
it's one of those comfort foods that you feel good about eating, especially in the winter
Yeah.
months.
Yeah. Do you still cook at home at all, or are you kind of like, all right, kids are out, we're done. Let's make a
No,
sandwich.
I still cook at home. Yeah,
Okay.
not as no religiously every day like I used to, but yeah, my husband and I still eat dinner at home pretty much every day.
That's good.
Sometimes I bring uh,
Leftovers, food from the kitchen.
food, yeah, or like testing.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, when we have a story that we say about when our daughter was little. One of her favorite foods was pasticcio, which
Oh
is
yeah.
something like a lasagna for Greeks, right? It's pasta and a meat sauce and a creme bechamel. So I was making pasticcio for the hot bars, and I was trying to like get it right to be not too wet, not too dry, so it lasts in the hot bar. So I made this dish like I don't know how many times, and the kids were really excited. What are we having tonight? Pasticcio, great. So one time our daughter opens up the fridge and she's like, "Oh God, not another pasticcio!" Oh,
You're like, yes,
I
one
know
more.
this is what our mother is gonna feed us again tonight.
Yep. Yep. That's so funny. And that's one of my favorites too. And I have a hard time ordering it from other places because my mom's is what I'm used to.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, maybe I just need to order it someplace. So that's one of my top favorites. We never did moussaka because my mom didn't like eggplant, so she never made
Wow.
it. So we rarely had.
Well,
We only had it.
it's very similar. It's basically
Yeah.
the same thing, just pasta.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What so on your like what's your favorite like when things are going really well at your business, like what are you most excited about? Like what keeps you excited and interested in loving your business?
So one of the things, so right now for the company, I do basically two things. I do R&D and sales. And one of the things that gets me really excited is when we onboard a new customer, the excitement of like we figure out a solution for them.
Yeah.
We figure out like a problem that they had, and now we solve their problem. And there's a lot of excitement on that. It's almost like you're making a new friend,
Yeah.
and now you're like building that friendship, right? That
Yeah.
relationship with them.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. That
Yeah.
there's a very fulfilling feeling when you feel like, oh, you got it, you nailed it,
Right.
It's not that you got the sale, it's more that you managed to build that relationship
Yes.
with that customer.
That says so much too about the kind of person you are, because it's like, yeah, yeah, okay, I got the sale. That's exciting. It's revenue, it's whatever, but it's like being able to work with that person or that company and build that relationship. To me, it's just going to take it so much further than, okay, check that off the list, on to the next one. It's like having a little care and nurturing of that new friend of yours.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, because
Uh,
that's where a lot more revenue is gonna come from there. If you want to just purely monetize the
right,
thing,
right.
uh, you
But
can
the
sell
joy
to
of the,
your
yeah,
existing customers much easier than you sell to a new customer.
absolutely. And that, but that, yeah, bringing that, you said this in the beginning, the joy of it is not necessary. I mean, yes, we all need revenue, we need money to pay the bills and do the thing, but it's like the joy of like introducing this new client to the products, and here's what we could do, and here's something new that we're trying, and maybe you all want to be part of it. So I think that's really, it's such a great way to approach business.
Yeah.
How about the opposite on those days where you're just like, seriously, this again? Like, what are there things that you do to kind of keep yourself calm or centered or focused? Do you go outside and scream? Do you yoga? Do you drink? I don't know. Everyone's got
Yeah.
a different way of handling. What's your
Yeah.
mode?
Well, I think one of the most frustrating things is the whole war on prices. You know, if you're trying to bring a quality product to market, especially food, because the margins in food are so small, and
Yep.
the margins in prepared foods are even smaller.
Smaller.
Whatever
Yep.
you have in, beverages are there, groceries, and then the prepared foods are way out there.
Yeah.
Um, so that is the really frustrating thing that is sometimes you have these meetings and the meeting goes really well and the buyer loves the product and they're like, oh, this tastes like my mother's. It's really good. And then we get into the pricing and he's like,
Yeah.
I've had many of those experiences. One time we were we did a product for the fresh market, and the director of prepared foods, who now has retired, she said to me, Maria, I love your food. I just can't afford it.
Right.
I'm like, can you do something about it?
Yeah.
And it's either you're gonna cut corners right and left, or
Yeah.
if you not gonna cut corners, then you have to come to terms with the fact that you're just gonna lose some customers. There's just no way around it.
Right. Yeah. I think those are the things I call like the those paradoxes of retail. It's like I want it to be affordable, but I don't really want to sacrifice this quality because then I'm not getting my repeat customers, and it's constant. It's the same
Yeah.
with Julia. Julia and I are working on a presentation we're doing next week, and one of the things is like one of our slides says, um, "You got to fit in, but you also have to stand out." Right? It's like if everybody else is around this price point or their package is this size, you got to be about the
Yeah.
same, but also don't be too much the same because how are people going to set you apart? It's like that
Yeah.
constant battle. So the pricing it's a really tough one, especially right now with the prices going so high.
Yeah. But
So
it's always tough. It's always
yeah,
tough because at the end of the day, on the shelf, you are competing with the big companies
that's right.
that have economies of scale, and at the end they can even afford to put a product, on the
Cheaper.
shelf just to get the shelf space,
That's right.
and there you
Yeah,
are trying to make a living out of it.
yeah.
So that's really hard.
So how do you keep yourself from like just being so frustrated? What do you do? What are your techniques? Just anything that because those are the things that are the reality of running a business. You
Yeah.
can love it all you want, but there's going to be days where you're feeling really stressed out or disappointed. What do you do?
Yeah.
What's the Maria technique? Anything?
Well, it goes back to what I said before. You got to do something to take care of yourself. Like
Yeah.
you got, first of all, you need to a little bit I don't know if this is the right
Philosophical?
yeah, it's
Philosophically?
like
Yeah.
it's not the end of the world, right?
Right. Yeah.
The end of the world. There's something when I was younger, I traveled a lot. I love traveling. So I spent 10 months in India.
Oh, wow.
And one of the things I learned being there is like we're so privileged. We don't know how privileged we are. And there's like so much suffering in the world.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when I get lots of issues like that, like the pricing that you said,
Yeah.
I take a step back and say, you know what? My problems are not that in the large scheme of things.
Right.
They're not just that important.
Yeah. It's
You
perspective.
know, it's
Putting it
just
into
putting it
perspective.
into perspective.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a business, you're gonna have ups and you're gonna have downs. And if you don't have the stomach for it, then you should not be
Yeah.
in business. It's just
Yeah.
go work for someone else. So
Yep.
they worry about it.
All the other things. Yeah.
All the other things.
It really is. It really is true. It's such a great bit of advice because there's going to be ups and downs, and it really comes down to how you handle them, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you can say, okay, let me take a step back, and that's what we said at the beginning. Like, if you're also doing everything, you have much harder time stepping back and like getting that perspective. But as the founder, president, CEO, whatever you want to call yourself, it's your responsibility to kind of be able to stop and go, okay, hold on a second. In the big picture, this really stinks, and now I gotta figure out the next step. So
Yeah. I mean, it's, once your company grows and you employ other people, you're responsible for their lives too. Like their
yes,
livelihood depends on you.
yeah,
So I don't want to downplay it and say, oh, it's not that important. It is,
no,
it is important.
yeah,
But if you completely panic, you don't help. You need to be able to step back and say, okay, we have gone through rough times before, what
yeah,
can you do? And sometimes you have to make some tough decisions, whether it's like laying off people or say, okay, we've been banging our heads against the wall and these
right,
products are not selling. Like,
yeah.
as much as we like it, we got to stop them.
Yeah, it's so hard though. It's like your baby. You're like, how come people aren't buying this? It's amazing. And it's like,
Yeah.
they're just not. And it could be so many different, it could be price, it could be positioning, it could be, they don't like your flavors, you know?
Yeah.
Just,
It could be
it's,
a lot of things, and as a small company, you just don't have the resources to be like just throwing things out in the
right.
market and
Yeah.
testing them, and you cannot do that.
Yeah.
But it's
And
also important to outside of the business to do things to decompress. I don't know.
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I was always into exercising, so I exercise, and then my husband and I a couple years ago started dancing.
Oh, that's
So
fun.
we go
Okay,
dancing.
like ballroom dancing or like,
Yes, ballroom
okay.
dancing.
I
We're not
love
like
that.
we're not that great that we can go to like competitions, nothing like that. But
You don't have to. That's okay. Yeah.
it's
I mean,
sometimes like a long day, and at the end of the day, it's like, do you want to go dancing? No, we really want to get out. And then we somehow we get ourselves out, and then we come back and we're like new people,
yes, that's what I was looking for. I knew there was something else you're doing over there to keep your
Yeah.
level head. And that's true too. It's like you're tired, but it's like once you get in and do the thing you love, all that tiredness goes away, and
Yeah,
then
but
you
even
feel
if you
refreshed.
can, sometimes I just go to the other room and do some yoga or something.
Yes,
Just
totally.
do something or go out for a walk or
Yeah,
to get yourself out of that situation that's,
yeah.
really stressful,
Intense. Yeah.
whatever that is.
Do you still go to Greece every year, or?
I do, yeah. I used to go, a couple times a year when I had the import company, but
Yeah,
now I go once a year, sometimes twice. All my family is there. My mother is very old, so
yeah. So you gotta get there. I get it. I get it. I this is the year I've got to go back this year or next year because I feel like it's been way too. It's been since just before the pandemic since I've been. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm way overdue for a visit. So
Yeah.
and I've never been to Crete, so that's really where I need to go
Yeah, you
because I've never
definitely
been.
need to go there.
So
It's really pretty.
so I mean everyone that's been is tells me the same thing, or everyone that's from there.
Yeah.
Is there now if people want to be in
Oh,
touch with you,
if
find
they
your
want to be in touch with me,
products
yeah.
or anything like that?
Well, a good way to get in touch with me is either through LinkedIn,
Okay.
or through our website. So if you just type demeterspantry.com, and you go to the website, on the top, it has you can follow us in social media.
Yep. And we'll post all that stuff too, and we'll
Yeah.
tag you and everything.
And
So
I'm pretty good about responding at LinkedIn. But Instagram, we are in all them
awesome.
popular ones. It's not me. It's not me, our marketing person. She's really good.
Don't worry, she's been in touch today already. We're in cahoots, me and Nomi, so don't worry. Is there anything else you want people to know about you, about your story, about running a business, Greek food, anything that we didn't cover?
Yeah, I think we covered a lot. I would say to all the people out there that want to start a small business is do a little bit of soul searching in the beginning. Is this really what you want to do? And do you love it? Because if you don't, it's going to be really tough.
Yeah.
And we are a little bit of a culture of heroes. We always say we like to admire the people who do this and start these great businesses, whatever. But at the end, as Hillary Clinton said, it takes a village, right? To raise a child, it takes a village to grow a company. And there's a lot of people that put a lot of sweat in it. They get almost no credit because
Right.
they're not the CEO or the founder or whatever.
That's right. Yeah.
A business is never one person. It's
That's right.
everyone, whether it's a contractor or all these people that help along the way that make
Yeah.
that possible. And so that way it's important to cultivate these relationships.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. Excellent. Well, anybody who's watching, we're going to share this on all the platforms. There'll be a link. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be everywhere. But yeah, this was so fun. And now you have me really
Thank
wanting
you,
some
Angela.
moussaka and some
Now I
dolmadas and
got you
things like
excited
that.
about pasticcio, so
You got
you
me excited
got
about. I'm going to call my mom and just be like, so, you making pasticcio anytime soon? You're not going anywhere. Maybe you should just make some pasticcio in time for the weekend. I think that she would be happy to do that for me.
It's good to have a Greek mom around.
Oh man, it's so good. Actually, we compete for her avolamono soup. When she's making it, she
That's
texts
good.
us. I'll text my brothers. I'm like, I'll be the first one over there. I'm gonna take mine to go. So that's
That is one of my favorites,
so
avolamono.
this time of year. It's so perfect. So
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you so much. Don't
Thank
go
you so
anywhere. I'm gonna
much.
stop the live.